What's up, Victory family? Sensei Denny here with episode 3 of the Chat on the Mat podcast. Today I've got with me here Mando, who's filling in for Ronnie for this episode. Mando, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's good. That's good. I could be Ronnie if I grow the beard out a little
And
bit.
make it red.
Yeah,
diet
red. Yeah.
So Mondo's here with me, obviously. So let's give Mando a little introduction first to get to know him a little bit. So Mando, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I grew up. I was born in Ohio. I moved to Chicago when I was probably about 7 years old. Lived in Palos Hills, then moved to Orland and started training at Victory about 2019. Sounds about right? Yeah. And yeah.
So you've always trained at Victory?
No, so before training, like I grew up with 6 brothers and we would always fight. It was just like our thing to just be fighting and everything. There's like videos of us and everything like when we were kids where we were just like beating the snot out of each other for absolutely no reason. Like it was ridiculous. Like I'm a foot taller than my younger brother and I'm just beating the snot out of him. Yeah, and in high school I wrestled at Sandberg. And
good team.
Yeah. Then moved here and we started training. Yeah.
Awesome. So, let's dig deeper into that, Mando. So,
Yeah.
What is your preferred fight style? Like for me personally, I would consider myself very well balanced. These last 2 years, I obviously took a deep dive into striking, but before that, I was much more into grappling.
Yeah.
I also wrestled in high school, so I like to consider myself well balanced. I like to dip into the striking and then come back into the grappling. Right now I'm in a grappling phase. So where do you think you're at, Mando?
So I think I'm definitely growing more at grappling as time has gone by, especially with today's Friday. So we just got finished done with the Friday class. And I feel like I started as like a grappling base, which was really good for me. And then, I fought last May, and that really pushed my striking to the next level, preparing for just that striking match. So I would say that my preferred style is I like to put people against the cage and kind of just find what comes. If the strikes come, the strikes come. If the grappling comes, that's where the grappling's at.
Well balanced, that's the way I like it. Cool, so what's one of your favorite fighters, Mando?
Oh man, it was Justin Gaethje before,
Things went south at the last second.
Before his face landed on the canvas. Now you kind of got to take it easy by saying Justin Gaethje your favorite fighter. But if I would say right now, I like Talbot. I don't remember his first name. But man, that kid's good.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, he's got like that dot on his chest.
Yep.
Yeah, what he does off the mat, I don't know. I don't know. But, inside the ring, man, he's a beast. Yeah, what about you?
So right now I've been kind of bouncing between some of the fighters. Honestly, back in my day, it used to be Conor McGregor before he went crazy and cuckoo. Because I just like the aura of his style, just being floating and just being able to snipe people from the outside range. But I also believe that to pursue or to hold somebody on a pedestal, they have to be good on the mats and off the mats.
Yeah.
They have to be a good person in the ring and outside of the ring. So I've distanced myself from Conor McGregor.
Yeah,
and
it's hard to say you're a fan.
Dude, with the things he does now and the social media and the things it's just, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
So right now I really like Brandon Moreno. I like his style. He's super funky with the way he strikes, and his grappling exchanges are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So smooth, so fast, lightning fast, crazy skill going into those scrambles, and I love the way he fights. He'll knock you out.
Yeah.
I remember he fought Kai Kara France, put him out with the liver kick. It was just beautiful striking, beautiful grappling, and that's just what I try to be. Like if I could be somebody, that's what I would be.
Yeah, just well balanced, like you said before, just well balanced, and just and I feel like with him, he's not forcing much of anything. He's just kind of letting stuff come to him, and because that's what happens when you have that element of striking and grappling is that you don't have to force anything. It's just it's there for you. Like if someone,
available.
if you can take someone down, you're gonna do it. But if you have a chance on the feet, you're gonna do it as well. I feel like that's why being balanced is so important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it also it helps that Brandon Moreno and I have the last name, so I like to tell the kids that he's my long lost brother.
He's a cousin.
Yeah. We're related.
Yeah.
I did meet him once, actually.
Yeah.
He was a very, very cool guy.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what's one fighter that you would train with for a week? If you could work with any fighter for a week straight, you know, all expenses paid for, who would you train with for a week?
You know, I follow Kamaru Usman and Justin Gaethje on Instagram. They train together in Colorado. And I feel like the location, Colorado, first of all, I would want to train there with them because the elevation, I feel like it's a whole different game when it comes to like the elevation. Like we're here in the Midwest, there's like the weather, you know, it's hard to get here, but like in the winter, it's hard.
You don't know what you're going to get,
It's
70
hard to
degrees
get
and sunny
here.
or blizzard.
Yeah.
No in between.
Yeah, but in Colorado, like with that elevation, like you've seen it in fights, like with Leon Edwards. He's a completely different fighter.
Oh yeah.
You know, like when you're in that elevation, it's different, and that's something I feel like I would want to train with them for that reason, and also because they do a really good job, especially with Kamaru Usman, blending the striking with the grappling. Yeah. That, you know, he's one of the best at doing that. I feel like that's why I would choose them if I were to train with anybody. What about you? What would you train?
I think
Can't say Brandon Moreno.
No, I'm not going to say Brandon Moreno. Honestly, I've thought about this before. Is if there was somebody I could train with, it would be Charles Oliveira. His personality just seems, aside from his skill, his personality just seems so fun to be around.
Yeah, he seems so
I would
fun.
not understand any word coming out of him, but it would just be so fun to be in the same room with him. The energy he brings to any room that he's in, I feel like it would just be an awesome environment to train in. That and obviously the immense skills he has, and his jiu-jitsu is really clean, and I think his style of jiu-jitsu is kind of where I'm at with my jiu-jitsu. Not the greatest, because he's usually on bottom, and I hate, I'm also on bottom a lot.
He's very defensive.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is how I am. I'm working on that to be more offensive, but I feel like I would really learn a lot from him, and just, again, being in that vibe, in that environment, I think would be awesome to train in.
Yeah. You know, what just came to mind would be really cool to train with as well? Tony Ferguson.
Oh my God.
And when he was training with David Goggins.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome.
Dude, I would love to be in that room. That would be, you'd throw up 4 times.
It's Tony time.
Keep going. That would be crazy.
Oh man, David Goggins, look, I feel like that. I don't know if I'd be able to survive like a training camp
Yeah,
with David
no,
Goggins.
he's crazy, man. He just runs. Like, he just runs and does this and does that. He's so in shape, dude. Like,
Mr. David, I haven't had water in 3 days.
yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, you don't need water. You know, you're like, what do you mean I don't need water? Yeah. And another person would be Michael Chandler. I don't know if you've seen him. Like,
Another guy would be fun. I feel like he's
so explosive.
Yes.
Like, I feel like his workouts would.
I feel like his basic drills are like high intensity training for us.
Yeah.
Like he's just doing that on a casual Friday. We're over here
Yeah.
like dying already by halfway through his drills that he does.
Yeah.
He's crazy. Have you ever seen him get hooked up to that machine?
Yeah.
Where he looks like he's like in an alien movie or something.
Dude, and there was like this video I saw where apparently he biked for like so many hours.
Yeah.
And under him on the bike was just a pile of sweat. And then he took his shirt off and just wringed it out.
That's that wrestling
Nasty.
mentality too coming through.
Man.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
And I have a joke with my brother Vince where I'm like, every time I see one of his videos and he's like doing one of his workouts, it always involves a medicine ball. He's always like slamming a medicine
Tossing
ball.
it, throwing it through the wall.
Yeah, doing something with a medicine ball. Like,
Man.
Yeah.
But those drills, it shows, what was his last fight with Oliveira actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it, but
Yeah.
that last round where he just stood up 3
yeah,
times.
he just standing up,
3 times in a row.
jumping, and he's counting. Like, how you're counting.
That is insane. Insane cardio and insane
with
strength.
one of the most dangerous submission artists.
On your back.
Yeah, he's still the top one, right? Charles
think
Oliveira
so.
still
I
has the
think
most
so.
finishes.
I think he still has the most subs, yeah.
Man,
Just absolutely
just
wild.
crazy.
I strive to be like that someday.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll get
that
there.
intensity.
But someday.
And he's like a gorilla, man. Man.
So let's talk about some issues, some food and supplementation.
Yeah,
Mando.
that's a good
So for me personally, man, I have been trying so hard to gain weight, and my metabolism is just not letting me.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, maybe over a month ago, I was just about pushing 144, 145.
Yeah.
Almost about to break through, and then bam, caught the flu. Was out the whole week.
Dude, that sucks.
All my habits just went right out the window. My
Yeah.
appetite went right out the window. Man, I was eating like 2 to 3 solid meals
Yeah.
double portions throughout the day, and I had good solid momentum of like half a pound a week. I was going up, and then that week, by the end of the week, I was down to 136.
Yeah.
Like I dropped a lot. You know, it was probably a lot of water weight too, but man, and I haven't been able to gain it back since.
Yeah.
So it's been real tough. You know, instead of doubling up on portions, I'm back to single portions. Barely able to finish that. I mean, we just ate Chipotle, and I only ate half of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm struggling, but you told me recently you gained some weight.
Yeah.
How'd that go for you?
Oh man, it went great. So I took the winter off from November to December just to really like focus on that, because I felt like on the mats, like I felt like my skill, I felt like I can go with anybody, right? But it was something about like somebody else being bigger than me, and especially with like wrestling, was that I was just getting overpowered in most like scenarios where like the other person necessarily wasn't using like the best or proper technique, but because they were just bigger than me and had more, just absolutely muscling through that. And that was the main motivator for me to do that. So I want to ask you, like, what kind of workouts do you do that are helping you, or do you feel that are helping you?
For me, my lifting isn't as technical. I mean, I prefer technical lifting over like brute force lifting.
Yeah.
I forget what the exact term is, but like science-based lifting versus just like meathead throwing weights
like,
around.
Yeah.
Because I've done that before.
That's how you get injured.
A, that's how you get injured. B, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel healthy doing it, and I just didn't like the vibe of going to the gym and just moving all this crazy weight. I could move the weight.
Yeah, right.
But I felt like it wasn't doing much for me.
Yeah.
So now what I've been doing is I still lift pretty heavy, but what I'll do is I'll do two very heavy sets, and then that third set will be very light till failure. All 3 sets are till failure, but the last one I'm pumping out as many as I can and just till failure.
Yeah.
But I've been sticking to the basics. So I've only been doing push and pulls. I haven't been working legs. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I know I have chicken legs. I'm working.
Oh,
I'm gonna get to it eventually. I'm barely squeezing in a day a week so far. You know, my schedule is just crazy these last couple months, so I'm barely getting one day a week in. But super basic, just push and pulls.
Yeah.
For push, it's just basic shoulders. You know, what do they call it? Military press,
Shoulder press.
Shoulder press.
Yeah.
There we go. Shoulder press, bench press. What else is in push? Triceps. That's about it. You know, a little bit of front deltoid, shoulder. That's really it for push. And then pull, just basic rows.
Yeah.
Middle back rows for lats, lat pull downs, rear deltoids, and biceps. And just really focusing on the basics.
Yeah.
And again, super heavy for 2 sets, super light for 1 set, everything till failure. And that was working really, really well for me.
Yeah.
Up until I caught the flu. And then
Yeah.
getting back into that workout regimen has been tough too. But when I still go to the gym, when I do make it in, I feel real good.
Yeah.
At the end, you know.
And just to put it in perspective, like I have a fast metabolism as well, you know, and like it's extremely hard. I know there's people that are like, you know, they gain weight like it's like there's no tomorrow, you know. They'll eat 1 meal and they'll be up 5 pounds.
I don't get it.
And then there's people like us that are just like, it seems like no matter how much I eat or what I do, I'm not gaining any weight. You know, even though physically you might look bigger or whatever, but you're not, like when you look at the scale from like a month to month basis, you're not gaining what you think you should be compared to how much you're lifting, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like you're weak. You're strong.
Yeah.
You know, you're a really strong guy. And yeah, it's just,
I don't get it.
It's
I'm
difficult.
trying so hard.
Yeah, it's hard to find the words to describe that exact thing, but I think with lifting, this is what I did. So I was 140 when I weighed in May. I was 140, 139. I think that scale was broken.
I think it was over.
Yeah, I think
or under something.
It was when I weighed in. I think it was under because he weighed me in at like 138, and I'm like, I know I'm walking around at least like 145, you know. But that's besides the point. But I weighed 140 that fight. I know for myself, and I'm now 160 now. Since I just started back to training, so I'm cutting a little bit. I'm probably about 155 right now. What I was doing was I would do one set where I can comfortably do 12 of whatever. So I'm just, for example, like I was doing chest press. I would do one set of 12 where I was comfortable, and then I would do 10 with more weight, and then 8 if I got to it. You know what I mean?
Like drop sets, yeah.
Yeah, but with more weight. I would add weight onto it.
Oh,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? So like, say I put a plate on there, then the next set I would do a plate in 25. I would make it as hard as possible.
Gotcha.
Like I could have barely done it. You know what I mean? And then after that, you had 2 plates on there, and then if you get it up, but you just got to keep going. You know? And then the other thing after that is you kind of have to train your body till failure. And one of the biggest things that I did was calisthenics. So after that workout, after I'm like, yeah, I can't do no more. I can't. You get down and do push-ups. You know, even if they're just like little ones, like you just do them. You just got to do it. You know. And then we kind of went off track. We were talking about food.
Yes.
Yeah. So with food, getting your meals in, it's not necessarily about how much. You know, it's really about the time that you eat them. You know, that's something that I realized, because I don't know, what times of the day do you eat mostly?
I'm all over the place. It depends on the day, but usually I'm breakfast around 9.
Yeah.
9 to 10. Lunch around 1. And then my last meal of the day is usually, if I'm lucky, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Which varies per day. So
Yeah.
I'm going a long time throughout the day without a meal.
Yeah, the food is important. Like it's really important, as you know.
Yeah.
You already know that. It's really important. But I just feel like the time that you eat also is really important, because I feel like when I was bulking, I was eating 4 meals a day.
Yeah.
On top of that, I was also having a protein shake. So I was kind of like really taking in calories. In the morning, the most important thing, you can't eat sugary stuff, and you can't, like cereals.
Yep.
Cereals are bad. Like they're good, okay?
Delicious.
Lucky Charms, Cheerios, not that popular, but I like Cheerios, But eggs, high protein foods, eggs, like avocados, eating like nuts, like almonds and trail mix, stuff like that, proteins in the morning. And then something with more carbs in it, like at lunchtime usually. And then dinner time is also where you want to pack on like protein and carbs as well. So, and I sugary sweets, it was dirty. It got dirty. It got gritty. I was eating candy a lot.
Oh man.
It was bad. It was,
See, I can't do the candy. For me, I've been trying to keep it clean. But then I've also been sneaking in a lot of fast food, because I need the fats, I need the carbs to slow it down a little bit, Because man, I just burn it off like that. One day of missing a meal, or one day of just not clicking with my diet, the next day I'm back at square one.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Like today, I've been, even before I came in, I drank a shake, and I went to weigh myself, and I was like 130. I'm like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be at like 140 at least, So it's been tough. Earlier in the week, I was at 140, fine. And I was good. But it's usually around the end of the week where I'm like, I just break the habits, and I'm right back to square one.
And milk.
I do milk sometimes.
Milk is a really important thing too. I feel like that's what really helped me get to where I wanted to go was drinking a lot of milk.
I've been doing a lot of Greek yogurt.
Yeah, Greek yogurt too. Greek yogurt is really good if you put it into like a smoothie or something. If you're cutting, I would exchange it out for milk, like, to be completely honest.
I found these little yogurt shakes. They're like Chobani. They're Greek yogurt, 20 grams of protein.
Yeah.
0 sugars or whatever, very little sugar. And I've just, every morning I have that.
Yeah.
With a banana or something. And that gets my day started properly, I feel.
Yeah.
Gets me the right energy. No caffeine, no sugar. I'm ready to
Good.
start
You
the
eat
day.
eggs too in the morning?
I try.
Yeah.
I try when I can.
Yeah.
As soon as I wake up, I change, I go.
You gotta spam eggs, dude.
That's the problem too. I just go.
They're expensive right now.
Well, yeah, maybe
what
not
am I
eggs.
talking about?
We need an egg substitute.
I'm talking about spamming eggs. They're
do they make vegan eggs right now?
Oh man, that's vegan eggs. Yeah, how would you even make a vegan egg?
I'm sure there's a way. We have vegan steak. There's a way to make vegan eggs.
You get the Impossible burger.
There we go.
The impossible egg. Yeah. Yeah, and then with supplements, I know you already take creatine, right?
Yeah.
Do you know which kind?
Right now, I've been using, oh my God, what's the name? Optimum Nutrition, I believe.
Oh,
Like
okay.
a black bottle or whatever.
Yeah.
I hop around with the brands. I try to go for
Yeah.
reputable brands.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm having trouble with the creatine getting it down because it just tastes so grainy and it.
Yeah.
I saw this online. Somebody said it tastes like crushed up aspirin, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that is so accurate.
It's exactly what it tastes like.
I hate it.
It's terrible. I was just telling the guys before they left, I had my tea, my bottle of tea.
Mm-hmm.
I had maybe 2 gulps left, like two good sips left, and I realized I forgot to take my creatine.
Oh, that's the worst.
So I was like, all right, I just gotta do it. So I put the creatine in there,
Oh, I hate that.
shook it up, and it was just 2
Just dirt.
sips of
Just sand.
straight sand in my mouth. It is the worst. It is the absolute worst. Oh man, it's bad. But the one that I use, my brother just got a new one, but I got Body Tech was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That one I feel like really helped. And the thing about creatine is that, there's 2 different kinds. There's the monohydrate one.
Yes.
And then there's I think it's called, is it poly or it's something different? But
I forgot what the
one
other
is
one
for aesthetic looks,
Mm-hmm.
which is really not that important to me. The other one's more performance based, and that's the one I take.
Functional.
Yeah, that's the one I take is the mono, and I feel like it makes me feel more clear.
Well, there's a lot of research coming out on creatine. Actually, it is the one supplement aside from protein that has immense amount of research on it and
Yeah.
good solid research, good science-based research done on it, where it is actually one of the only functional supplements. All the other supplements are really just based on loose data that's not
Yeah.
concrete.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
creatine has concrete evidence that it does what it says it will do.
Yeah.
And it not only for your body, but it's coming out that it helps your brain too.
Right.
So that could be what you're feeling too. The
Yeah.
supplement of
Yeah.
creatine helping your brain. Again, it's just the one supplement that has immense
Yeah.
amount of research on it.
And the thing about creatine is that it occurs naturally. It's
Yes.
it's in meats.
People forget that, yeah.
It's in red meat. And the thing is that the percentage that's in the red meat is so low.
Yeah.
That you're not really getting the amount that you need.
That you should.
know? So that's why I wanted to take the supplement. And the thing, we were talking about this even beforehand with protein. I like protein shakes. I'm a fan. They taste good. For the most part, unless you get a really bad one, which I've experienced. You get a really really bad one, and it's
Just gross.
yeah, it's just disgusting, and you just throw it away, and you're like, why did I buy this?
Why did I spend $50 on this?
Yeah, but you get the really good ones, and you're like, you can't wait to drink it.
Yeah.
But with the protein thing, is I try, maybe I go maybe 3 times a week. I'll enjoy a protein shake, but for the most part, I really try to get my protein in my food. That's, because it's breaking it down better, and and with the protein powders, sometimes you get questioned about what's in it, and
Yeah, you got to be careful with what again, reputable sources too,
Yeah.
because some companies put, there's artificial sugar,
Yeah,
sucralose, and there's all this research now coming out about artificial sweeteners and how it
Yeah.
messes up your gut biome.
Yeah, yeah.
And that'll have consequences on other areas of
Yeah.
your fitness and
Yeah.
health. So what I've been doing is, because I hate the flavor of protein.
Yeah.
I hate it. Any protein powder, I despise it.
Yeah, anyone that drinks protein powder knows that when you drink something, you taste the protein.
Yeah. So
any shake, anything you taste,
Oh my
you take
God,
a
it
sip, you're
sucks.
like, this is the
that
way
chalky
protein.
stuff.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing now, the last year or so, is I just buy unflavored protein powder.
Yeah.
And it makes everything so much better.
Yeah.
It was always the artificial sweetener, the chemical taste to it that I hated.
Yeah.
So now I'll just make a shake and I'll, a lot of ice cream, fruit, banana, whatever
Yeah.
else I want to put in there, peanut butter, and then I'll put my unflavored protein in there, and I don't even taste the protein anymore.
Yeah.
It just tastes like a shake.
Yeah, that's good.
And that has helped me because again, I hate the
Yeah.
flavor of that protein stuff. So I just put
Yeah.
unflavored, goes down real easy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
So, anything else going on in your life, Mando?
Well, I'm going to Colorado soon.
Nice.
So yeah, that'll be good. My brother's, in Minnesota and Canada doing some camping stuff, and
Okay.
he needs me to watch his apartment while I'm there. And My brother actually is the one that introduced us to here. My older brother, Noah.
I remember him, yeah.
Yeah. He's the one that introduced us to coming here, and he's setting me up with a gym in Colorado while I'm there. So
Okay.
yeah, so it'll be fun.
Very cool.
To get to experience like a different environment. You
Yeah.
know? Not that here is bad, but you know.
Getting a taste of something else is always good.
Yeah.
Variation. Sometimes different perspectives. You learn from different perspectives, or
Yeah.
interacting with people that you don't normally interact with. You just grow through that too.
Yeah. I kind of want to make it a thing because I'm going to California soon. I want to find a gym to just train at for a day. You know what I mean? And just experience kind of different gyms, and especially in different states. It's one thing to go from some gym here to go to a different gym in 10 minutes away from here.
It's way different to go to a different state, and absolutely.
Yeah. What about you? Anything
for me
cool going on, or maybe not so cool?
I'm just head down in the dirt, just embracing the grind of life right now. Coming up to my last semester of university, almost done with that, finishing up my bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be done with that.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I've learned is that so far, college has been a scam.
Dude,
I'm not advocating for not going to college, but
yeah, it's bad. Honestly, I'm with you.
Man, simply from the business psychology, I will say I have learned a lot.
Yeah.
I've definitely grown a lot in my knowledge of psychology.
Mm-hmm.
But from a business perspective, because I did study a little bit of business too, I minored in business. I have spent much more time. It was just so bizarre because I would go into the class, and I guess it helps that I have some business exposure going into those classes, but
Right.
I just felt it was a waste of time for me because none of what I learned in those classes was really applicable to the real world. So it's like, even if I committed to a full business degree,
Right.
when I get into the real world, I'm gonna have to learn it all again.
Yeah.
Because the textbook does not really apply to the real world.
And I feel like that's a common thing with like our generation going to college. They're kind of realizing that, like, even the teachers, even the teachers are kind of telling me, like, yeah, this is kind of like, I'm not going to teach off the textbook because this, that, and this,
Right.
Because, let's be real, like AI and social media has completely changed business
Absolutely.
for what it is. Because what it took to be a good business, maybe like 20 years ago, is not what it takes to be a good business
Way
today.
different today, way different.
Not to say that you can't run a business the old way.
No,
and,
but
and
you're
be
just
successful.
going to be about mediocre.
Yeah, that's all it's ever going to be. Yeah.
All the cool thing, I said this in class too, in my business class I've got this semester too, and I said it in front of the class. I was like, this is such a unique time period in business because there's been no other time where little mom and pop shops could punch up to big corporations and start to become a threat to big corporations.
Yeah, and this is it, man. Like, like you could see like that coffee shop that just can post something on Instagram or something, and then the whole community is like, let's all go, and that's the difference. Because, like, even in my one marketing class, they were saying that with commercials, like that was the big thing. Like, commercials, you need to have a good commercial. But now that's slowly going down.
It's a dying
right?
breed.
Yeah, because before, like, the only people that were able to afford commercials were the big companies, and you get exposure by buying the commercial. It's like a big thing that you can buy and get a good return on investment on it. But with social media, you could post something for free.
The ROI is immense too, like you said.
Yeah.
You post for free, and the return on that could be huge.
Yeah, and you shared a book with me, Day Trading Attention.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that book is what really opened my eyes to that, and how just a post. If you just post once a day, you're so likely to get, even if you get like 500 people to look at it.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's 500 people that are looking at your post.
Yeah.
That took
And I
almost
feel
zero
like
effort to make.
Even like with people today, I feel like they don't realize that that's 500 views is 500 people looking at your account or your video.
And who knows who's within that 500 people?
Yeah.
It could be your next biggest customer. It could be something like that. Your next business venture, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. I always think of The example of that guy with the cranberry on the skateboard, ocean spray.
Oh, the ocean spray, yeah.
Like the most mundane.
And he
post.
had that song.
And he was just chilling.
yeah.
He was minding his own business. Just made a little clip, you know, and posted it on TikTok. And
He's probably a millionaire now,
dude,
too.
he's loaded now.
He was just going to work.
Yeah.
He was just. He
Was he actually
chill.
just going to work?
I think it was work or school or something.
That is awesome.
He was going somewhere, you know. Yeah, but man.
But that shows you the power of the technology we live in.
Yeah.
You know?
And they did an interview with that guy. I know exactly what you're talking about. They did an interview with that guy, and he was like, "Well, I recorded that video, and I debated not posting it."
Man, that's
And it's
so
like,
wild.
it's like, just post. Just post. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, who cares? Whatever. If you think it's stupid, it'll be stupid. But if it works, you're a
you've made it,
genius. You know. Because I mean, you're looking like think about it in his perspective. You're sitting there like, this is such a stupid video. This is so silly. I'll just, you know,
post it.
yeah.
And then bam, you're retired.
Yeah, yeah. You got endorsements, and because Ocean Spray didn't do anything really.
They sold out too after that post.
Yeah.
All the ocean spray on the shelves sold out, cleaned out the shelves.
And I mean, they have to give him thanks. You
At
know what I
least.
mean? Because they didn't have to do anything, and that's the power of the age that we're in
crazy.
now. Yeah, and that's what I've come to realize, and I'm really trying to harness that.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I know you've been posting a lot.
Man, I have been trying to sharpen those tools I would say the last year. I've made a big push for
Yeah.
it. Just getting out of my comfort zone, getting in front of the camera like we're doing now.
Yeah.
You know, this has been a new project of mine, and you know, it's going to be something I continue to do.
Yeah.
And just to create content, to you know, be able to expand beyond the reach of just this physical location.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because with social media, you know, it doesn't stop here. Your reach
Right.
can you know, reach through the community, reach
Right.
across state lines. You know, your reach is much bigger than you think with social media.
Yeah.
And if you can, you know, post something that provides value to the community, to the people around you, you know,
Yeah.
that is a big plus. You know, I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't even care about the views. If my post,
Yeah,
like I made
no,
a
it
post
doesn't
about
matter.
some research the other day in martial arts. You know, if that post
Those are good
convinces
posts.
a parent somewhere
Yeah.
in the world that, hey, you know,
Yeah.
if there's research on this, then maybe I should get my kid into martial arts.
Yeah.
That's great. You know, that's great.
And let's add every kid should get into martial arts.
Absolutely.
Every single kid. Not just put all the mind stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like your psychology degree, not to
Hey.
take the crazy stuff. But like every kid and they should just know how to defend themselves.
Oh, yeah.
You know? They just should.
Yeah.
You know, and I would regret not teaching, like I always teach my little brothers like everything that I know. I try to show them everything that I know because they compete, but also because like I want them to be strong individuals.
Yeah.
And that if something were to happen, they could have the composure to handle a situation,
Yes.
you know? That's what MMA does
Absolutely.
for kids, you know? It brings up their confidence and gives them a different kind of outlook on life.
Yeah.
It's what it's done for me.
Well, I was telling my kids earlier today in my Lockport class, I was like, hey, you know, because I'll get this a lot. They get a little hurt, they get a little mat burn,
Yeah.
they hurt their arm a little bit, you know, and they start complaining. And I'm like, hey, I'm okay with you guys complaining, but listen,
Yeah.
you know, we're on these mats. This is a special opportunity you guys have to train to be tough and emotionally resilient individuals.
Right,
You know,
right.
you're getting punched in the stomach. Yeah, it sucks. It hurts.
Yeah.
But you know who else is getting punched out in the stomach out there? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody else out there.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are in here training to get tough. We're
Yeah.
champions. We're warriors. We're eagles in here.
Yeah.
You know, and not everybody gets that opportunity.
Yeah.
So take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah.
Embrace the pain. Embrace the grind. Let that build emotional, physical, and mental resilience in you, and come out as eagles and champions.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, well said. Well
yeah.
said. Yeah, like when some of the kids at Sandberg, like I'm always at the meets. My brother, you know, I have two brothers that are in it. Well, three. Vince is done now, so when I see the kids lose, even sometimes I go up to, like, you know, the kids that maybe I don't know their names, and
Yeah.
you know, but I get to know them, and this kid lost, and I just went up to him. I'm like, this, and he's really upset about it, and I just have to tell him, like, is this how, like, you want people to see you like upset about you losing? I'm like, losing is not the end of the world. you just got to get up, be strong, even if you don't feel strong. You have to be strong and just move on to the next thing. What did you learn from that? That's what another thing that I asked them. What did you learn from that? And then it's usually along the lines of, well, maybe I shouldn't, not be in my stance or something like that, And it's always just the little things. They got to be reminded of that, you know. And they come back out stronger people, and they, to see that kid that lost that one match in a tournament and then come back and win his next one. Yeah. And then you just see that they're so relieved. Like, it didn't matter that I lost. Yeah. It doesn't. You come back and you win the next one. It's not about winning and losing. It's about, moving on to the next thing.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Man. So let's talk a little bit about leadership, Mando. You've been stepping up into a leadership role. What do you feel about that leadership role? How do you feel about that?
Nervous a little bit. I try not to say that I'm nervous because I don't think I get nervous, really. I think I get excited, and I think what I expect from myself is to be the best at what I do. Yeah. That's what I expect from myself. And not that I get nervous, I just get really excited. And when I know that it's my time, because Bobby and I switch off, every Friday class. When I know it's my time to teach something, I take that whole week and just notes, studying every move, every little thing, because I don't want to be, when someone asks me, oh, how do you do this, or what should I do that? Instead, I want to be like knowing the answer immediately and saying it right then and there, I pride myself in being absolutely prepared for any kind of obstacle that will come, and being able to show someone that may not have any experience at all how to do something, and then my joy in it is seeing them complete it, being able to do it. Like today when we were doing the Russian tie, and seeing Emery do it, I was like, solid. You did it, like, and he's like, I'm gonna hit that one day, and so, and it's exactly how I want everyone to feel in my classes, is that they can do it, even if it takes time, they will do it, and that I will be there to help them be able to achieve it. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I can agree with the nervousness / excitedness.
Yeah.
For me, it's always been, I've been doing this relative to, my age. I've been doing this for so long that at first it was absolute fear.
Yeah.
Just like, what am I doing? What have I gotten myself into?
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of like, I remember Sensei Adam said it a long time ago. It's like you're a DJ. You're just you're running a party, you're running a show. And you're just the man. And that's what I'm starting to feel like now. And now that I've kind of clicked into that groove of making sure that everybody feels good, everybody's learning, everybody's growing, everybody's having fun.
Yeah.
It just becomes 10 times more fun for me.
Yeah.
Just seeing these kids smile at the end of class, tired, sweaty, their hair's all over the place, red faces, and then, hey, did we have fun today, kids? Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah.
Did we learn something? Yeah, we learned something.
Yeah.
Then mission accomplished, guys.
Yeah.
It is just an absolutely great feeling.
Yeah. It's 1% better. And I know Sensei Adam all ingrained that into my brain. He's ingrained so many things into my brain that just have made me who I am today, but 1% better every single day. And Sensei Jason says that a lot. Just coming in, you don't have to give it, you don't have to be 100%. Right. You just have to come and be ready for what's going to happen and just have an open mind. Yeah. That's another thing that I feel like some people will come in here with a very closed mind about the techniques, and then you're kind of just putting up a gate between you and your potential.
Yep.
And that's why I want people to feel comfortable in class.
Absolutely.
Because if you feel uncomfortable, you're kind of tight and you're not really committing to things, and that's the goal, is to get people comfortable, to make them learn, and then to see them achieve a goal.
Yeah, that's what I've worked on the adults a lot with that too, because especially with the newer people that come in, we had this match a long time ago, and it was basically like a sensei and a student, and the sensei was filling up the student's cup. They were sitting down for tea. I believe the student was asking for his black belt soon, or something like that, and the sensei was filling up his teacup and filling it, and filling it and filling it, and eventually it overflowed.
Yeah.
Right? No more could fit into the cup
Yeah.
because the cup was full, so it
Yeah.
was overflowing. And the moral of the story was that the sensei said, when you come in to train, you must come in with your cup empty, ready to learn.
Yeah.
If you come in with your cup full,
Yeah.
nothing more can fit in it.
Yeah.
It's just going to spill over. You're not going to capture that knowledge.
Yeah.
So you need to come in with your cup empty, ready to learn, ready to absorb the information being given to you, so you can grow.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
There's no way around it. If you come in, like you said, with that kind of closed off
Yeah.
barrier, then nothing's going to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that is with newer people. It just needs to be like, I mean, coming into a new gym, it's a big step.
Oh, yeah.
And some people that have never even trained before as an adult, maybe like wrestled in high school or something like that, but to come in here with no experience whatsoever, that's such a big step. And that's why like our community here is so welcoming of that, and I feel like everybody understands like, hey, that was me at one point. Just
That's what I always say. We all started somewhere.
Yeah, that was me, coming in and, I was like, do I talk to them? What do I do? Like, do I ask questions and I just want, you got to have people that feel comfortable asking questions and, making friends and, we have a good group.
Oh yeah, that's what we're all about. Having a good group, having a team to back you up, being able to come in, train, comfortable, grow, be uncomfortable too, embrace the grind.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're all here. I always tell the guys right before sparring, hey, light to the head, medium to the body, hard to the legs. But listen, are we all going to work tomorrow? We all going to school tomorrow?
Yeah.
We're all okay. Then let's not kill each other today. Keep that in mind. 40-year-old dad over there has to go to work tomorrow morning, waking up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, to provide for his family.
Don't knock his nose off his face. You know.
That's funny. I remember. I think it was last week. You were like, "Does anyone have an off day tomorrow, or is everyone going to work?" And you were like, "Raise your hand if you have an off day." And we all looked around.
Nobody had the day
had
off.
their hand up. Like, to put that in perspective, we all have a life outside of this. We all, even though. I see you, we're here all the time, we're training. That doesn't mean I'm like...
This is all we do. We got things outside of this.
Yeah, we do stuff, We're people.
Nobody's got the day off? All right, no punch him to the head.
Yeah, no. And take it easy on the legs. Yeah, but anyway, Lockport, how's Lockport?
Lockport's been strong. Man, I've got some kids right now that have been with me, if I'm not mistaken, going on 3 years.
Wow.
They are going to their green belts, which is a long process, obviously.
Yeah.
Their next belt will be purple belt, and the next one after that will be, their advanced purple belts. But man, I've got maybe 6 to 8 kids that have been with me for that long.
Yeah.
And, seeing the growth from the newer kids is great. Seeing the growth in those kids that have been with me for so long now.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like I've known them forever at this point.
Yeah.
And, they were half the size they were 3
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
Seeing who they are now compared to who they were then, coming in tears, coming in not confident.
Yeah.
Now they're coming in, they're like, sup, sensei,
Yeah.
we're ready. Are we gonna do wrestling today?
Yeah.
Yeah, are we gonna do jiu-jitsu? No jiu-jitsu, we want wrestling.
Yeah.
Just being able to command the room in their own little ways, it's just awesome. Seeing the confidence, seeing the joy, seeing the passion, seeing their skills on the mats.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Oh man, dude, seeing some of these kids, it's like when they get older,
Man, the
be
students
a
will surpass
problem.
the sensei very quickly.
Man, these kids are good, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because, most importantly, is getting them in young.
Yeah, that's the good part too. Yeah.
But then I feel like even sometimes you get them in young and they're kind of just
going through the motions.
Yeah, the attention span's
really
not there. Yeah, but then there's some of the kids that just love it. They just love it, and they love showing up, and they're just like, I can't wait to get here, and then those they grow so much, and those are the people that will be future leaders here at some point.
Here or somewhere else for that matter.
Yeah.
Not even within martial arts. Those skills apply elsewhere too. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah. Of course. And I'm going to be excited to start that second class for Lockport because
soon. Yes.
You've grown it so much, and that's been your thing. And I feel so when I was subbing in for you that one time. I felt so welcomed by them. They were, those are
They're
amazing.
great kids.
Those are amazing kids, and the parents too. I introduced myself to them and told them hi and everything, and they were very welcoming. So to open up that second session, just to give them that extra thing, to look forward to in the day. I can't wait to be a leader in that.
That'll be a great opportunity, and just to, because I know the kid you've visited a bunch of times, and the kids love you out there too. It'll just be so fun, and I know some of those kids are asking for more. Sensei, can we get more?
Yeah.
I'm like, not right now. Give me some more time. We're working it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, great kids.
Yeah.
Good crew.
Yeah.
So, what do you think some challenges, or what are some expectations you think with these new leadership roles you're coming upon?
The expectations of like my leaders, like you, Sensei Adam, Sensei Ronnie. I feel like right now, currently, is just to show up, just to be there, right, and to also soak in as much knowledge and just to become a stronger leader. And just because before I was showing up to class and I was a student, right?
Yep.
And now I still show up as a student, but I'm studying it differently, right? I'm studying how you control the room, how Sensei Ronnie controls the room, how Sensei Adam controls the room, and Sensei Jason controls the room. And I'm honing in on that thing specifically, because not that my technique is perfect or that I know, but being a leader is far different than just being a martial artist.
Yeah.
It's a completely different thing. And for me, I feel like I just need to show up and study you guys, and I feel like that's the expectation I get from everybody, every sensei here.
Yeah, that's. I mean, humans are masters of imitation.
Yeah.
We do it from when we're babies. We imitate.
Yeah.
So the best way to learn sometimes is simply sit back and watch, and observe, and see how the master does it. Like Sensei Adam, the way he runs classes is different than anything else I've ever seen. Any other classes I've ever attended.
Yeah.
And the ability to command, no matter how many kids are in there, whether it's 2 kids, whether it's 10, 15, 30, 40 kids in the room.
Yeah.
It is the same output.
Yeah.
It is the same exact output and energy and passion into every single word, every movement coming out of him.
Right.
And and that's what I strive to be like, and it's just awesome to be able to do that.
Yeah. And I feel like, okay, so the expectation for myself, I feel like, is to just be prepared. That's the expectation for myself, is that like I said, I take a whole week just to study, 3 moves, right? The expectation for myself is to just know every single move, every little detail. If the elbow's supposed to be here, it's supposed to be there, or every little thing. I feel like I need to know it. I don't want to miss a single beat at all. That's the expectation that I put on myself when it comes to this.
Well, here's the cool thing too, is that sometimes as an instructor, you can explore things that you don't know.
Right.
And at the same time, it's okay. Obviously different with like super bare bones basics, but sometimes I get questions and I'm like, you know what, guys? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And we almost grow together as a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's okay to not know the answer sometimes.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's like, what should my stance look like, and you don't know the answer, that's a little different.
Right.
But sometimes I get, especially the newer guys, well, what if I do this? What if I put his arm over here? I'm like, you know what? Try it. See what happens.
Yeah. Right.
Or I don't know what the result's going to be, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't
Yeah.
be. And sometimes it's okay to say, I don't know the answer.
Yeah. And that's the thing with jiu-jitsu and grappling. I feel like I've made up a couple of things, when it comes to like twist and stuff, or whatever.
Just twist his arm. If it hurts, you're doing good.
Yeah, like that move that I was showing today. I just like one day I was just like, what if I just do it? What if I just do that? And I did it, and then I was like, that was really good. And then what I did was I looked it up. Like I tried, like I was like, what should I call this? And I looked it up, and then I was like, well, this is like a legit move, but I was kind of doing it a little bit different.
A little modified,
Yeah. So like you said, like just try stuff. Yeah.
Or sometimes I'll get questions like, well, I prefer doing it this way, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but here's how I like to do it. And
Yeah.
you can do it either way you want.
Yeah.
But here's my perspective on it.
Yeah.
This is what I think is more effective. You do
Right.
you. This is what I think is more effective. And if it works,
Yeah.
it works for you. Great.
Yeah.
And if not, cool. At least we tried
Yeah,
it.
right.
You know, it's all about building up your tool belt. You don't want to be the mechanic who shows up for repair
Right.
with only 2 tools in his
With a-
toolbox.
yeah, with a hammer.
You want to be the mechanic who's fully prepared, has every tool they could
Yeah.
possibly need. Not going to use all of them.
Right.
They have them if they need them.
Right,
You
right,
know?
right. And I think you do that really good with your teaching. Is like, what you do is give, like, especially with jujitsu, maybe not striking because it's kind of, there's kind
Little
of
more vanilla.
Yeah, it's kind of 1-2, you know. But like with jujitsu, you're like, all right, we're teaching like escapes.
Yeah.
You could do it like this. I like it like this, but there's also a different way we can do it like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're really good at that. That's
Perspective. It's all
Yeah.
about perspective. Because,
Yeah.
even within a class, you'll have a guy that's 200 pounds and you'll have me who's
Right.
140.
Right.
The way I do it is not going to be the same way that he does it because the mechanics are going to be different.
Right.
So sometimes it's good to be like, hey, well, me as a small guy, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
You as a big man, you might do it a little bit different. Let's
Yeah.
try it this way. That might be better for you.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? That was actually a lot better. Okay, well, cool.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
tried 2 different ways. That way's going to work better for you. Stick with that.
Yeah.
You know?
What are some challenges that you faced? You've been teaching for, since you were about 16.
16, I
Yeah.
believe. Yep.
Yeah. Taking over classes, even just subbing or
Covering
whatever.
or subbing,
Yeah.
you know.
What is like a challenge that you saw?
The biggest challenge in the beginning was being able to command the room.
Yeah.
Especially because I was so young and much, much closer to the kids' age back then. There was a lot of having to keep the kids orderly.
Yeah.
Even if they were like kids that have been with us for a long time, they would easily kind of come out of, not out of control, but easily test the authority to a point where it was
Right.
like, well, I'm going to get away with it. I'm going to do whatever I want. And
Right.
it was hard to kind of reel them back in.
Yeah.
So I had to really learn how to use my voice.
Yeah.
And it helps that, for a long time I was basically raising my 2 younger siblings. Every correction they've ever gotten has been through me, not my
Yeah.
parents. So, that kind of helped me learn simultaneously how a kid should be corrected,
Yeah.
how your tone of voice should change,
Right.
all these little details. And I would say this last year for sure, but the last 2 years, I've not perfected it, but I've gotten a whole lot better at being able to command a big room of kids.
Right.
And if they start testing the authority, being able to
Right.
make that authority known and hey, we're here to grow and I'm glad you guys are having fun.
Yeah.
But if you guys are if all you're here for is fun, then you're gonna have to, go in push-up position, sit off to the mat, sit
Yeah.
off the side.
Yeah.
If you're not here to grow, our mission here is to grow. And if you're not with
Yeah.
us, then you can sit on the sidelines for a little bit until you're ready to join us.
Right.
Or whatever it takes to sometimes I just have to raise my voice a little bit and
Yeah.
their eyes shoot
Yeah.
open and they're like, oh, he means
Yeah.
business. And
Yeah.
then they click back in. That's been the biggest challenge with the kids.
Yeah.
With the adults, man, I always used to say, for me, it was harder to teach the adult class than it was the kids class.
Yeah.
And everybody else always says the opposite. It's harder to teach the kids class versus the adult class. Man,
Yeah.
I feel for the adults, I had a similar issue where I had, I'm still working on it now, is authority, who is this 130, 140 pound dude,
Yeah.
21-year-old kid telling us what
Yeah.
to do, and so I struggle with showing the authority sometimes, but that's why I'm trying to gain weight too.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. But the challenge there has been eased with finding different ways around that boulder of a challenge.
Right.
Sensei Adams always said, if you can't go through it, find a way. Around it, under it, over it, whatever it takes
Yeah.
to find a way. And what I've been doing is I've just been becoming, relatable to the adults. Hey, kind of like what we said earlier, who's got the day off tomorrow? Nobody? Well, then, why are we killing
Yeah.
each other right now? Why are we
Yeah.
slugging at each other's heads?
Yeah.
Just being able to connect with the adults much more has
Yeah.
been able to kind of offset that authority, being knowledgeable helps too. Just like, not even martial arts knowledge, just like, hey, supplements, foods, psychology. I try to use my degree as much as I can. Hey, guys, like research shows this, research shows that. This is what you should do to take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of your
Yeah.
health, whatever it takes, just to be much more relatable to the adults and
Yeah.
connect with them a lot more.
Yeah.
Those are some of the challenges that I've had to kind of overcome these last couple years.
I completely relate to that, and I feel like that's something that I'm currently going through, and you've I've already found a way to go find a different way.
Find your own path.
And when I was 17, that was the first time I ever subbed for a class, and the first thing, like I was on the way there, and what I thought was like, are they like as adults? The kids, I wasn't as authoritative as I needed to be. That was my mistake. I learned from that. But with the adults, how do I get respect? Because you can't really they're not going to listen or take you seriously if they don't respect you in some kind of way.
Yeah.
So I completely relate to what you're saying, and that's something I'm currently trying to go through, and I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job of commanding the room. I mean, you saw me today.
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying my best.
Oh yeah,
so.
You've been doing good. Yeah, you've been doing good, and it comes down to the experimental method, basically.
Yeah.
Test it, grow from your mistakes, and just learn. That's the only way to do it. Because if you stay too kind of like the cup metaphor again, if you come in and just try to stay on your own little bubble of this is how I do things and this is the way I'm going to do things.
Right.
And it might not work.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to make adjustments, and if you're not willing to make those adjustments, that's when you start seeing negative consequences of those behaviors and actions.
Yeah. And you don't want to make anybody mad at you, and trying to force them to do something that they don't want to do, or maybe something that they can't do. So that's why you need to have that open mind. Like you said, with the people, there's such a different variety of people that come in. And you can't force someone to do it your way. And
you got to be flexible.
Yeah.
Bend, don't break.
Yeah.
Flexibility trumps perfection.
Yeah, that's very good advice.
I told the kids the other day.
Yeah. It's very good advice.
Left and right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got that. I'm trying to become that sensei who's just got a mat chat for every little. You got a problem? Here's your mat chat. Problem? Here's your mat chat.
Yeah. Man, we have the ABCs. We got
a good repertoire here.
Yeah, we got a lot. We got a lot, man. And like sometimes something will happen to me, and just like coincidentally, I'll just think of like some mat chat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember Sensei told me that.
Yeah. And it's like just handed down to me like this is the solution. I'm like maybe, and then maybe it hits me afterwards. Maybe I do something that I wasn't supposed to do, and I'm like, well, maybe I should have listened to the mat chat.
That's one thing too. What do you think of our generation, Mando? We're both. I'm 21. You're 19.
Yeah, I'm 19. I'm about to turn 20 in 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, 2
nice.
weeks. I'm about to be 20. Not a teenager no more.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to adulthood.
Yeah. I'm excited. But with our generation, man, I don't know. Not that my generation's lazy, but I feel like most people are looking for an easy way out.
Yeah.
And it's to the point where like I've told you the story where I took an online class and we were doing a discussion board, which is like where people type a response in and you have to respond to their response to a specific topic that the teacher chose about.
Like a virtual discussion.
Yeah. And I read one reply to it, and then I read the one under it, and it read the same exact way. Like, clearly you put this into an AI and made it type it for you.
Yeah.
And you guys both did the same exact thing. And I don't want to blame the college for even thinking about having an online class, and because that's just like, I don't know, it's a whole thing about integrity. And I don't want to blame the teacher for posting the discussion board, although I don't agree with the discussion board.
No.
I mean, those are kind of pointless, just brain filler things. But just the integrity of the students to just take that discussion, which you might have learned something if you applied yourself to it, but you're just putting it into AI and sending it out,
See, I had this discussion actually with a classmate. He's like, forgive me if I'm wrong, I believe he's 40, not sure. Don't know his exact age, around there.
Yeah.
And I was telling him like, man, I hate these discussion boards.
Yeah.
They're just, I hate them. Even, you know, even if I get a juicy prompt that does incite some you know, thinking,
Yeah.
it just feels so like monotonous, or how do you say that word? Monotonous?
Monotonous.
Monotonous.
Yeah.
Robotic.
I'm
Better term.
not
Robotic. It just
not
feels.
a vocab expert.
I'm not either. I'm a psychology and not in the English major. So, anyways, it feels like unnatural and forced almost.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't feel I'm extracting value from it, and nobody else is either. Because,
Yeah.
like you said, some people are just taking the easy path and
Yeah.
getting the easy grade, you know,
Yeah.
and there's no value being extracted from it. And teachers are kind of lying to themselves, saying, "Yeah, this is
Yeah.
students are learning from this."
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Not really though, because I mean, if you look at it, probably about 30% of the students just copy paste.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like I'm interacting with you one on one. So like the things, it's like reading something versus, you know, talking to someone face to face is such a big difference. I don't want to feel too negative about our generation, because there's amazing people in our generation,
Oh, yeah.
like you, and you know my brothers are growing up to
Good
be
kids.
good kids, yeah, and some good people, and you know the kids here even are growing up to be some really good kids. It's just some people, you look at their life choices, like we're in college, right? And there's some people I went to high school with that are just getting hammered every weekend, and that's not a sustainable lifestyle.
No.
And these are supposedly like the best years of your life, right? And I feel like the best years to build something for the rest of your life. That's kind of my mindset.
I
for it.
completely agree. I feel you know, especially at the end of high school, I was like, forget this school stuff. I was forced to kind of grow up, and I just had to focus on adult responsibilities, where
Right.
everybody else was so worried about what dress am I going to wear for
Right.
prom. We didn't
Right.
have a prom. It was 2021.
Yeah.
We still weren't even allowed to have a prom. But you know, where everybody else was so focused on the now, I was
Right.
focused on where am I going to be 5-10 years from now, and what can I do to make sure I get there.
Right.
Everybody else was so focused on, oh, I need to make sure I get to my dream school. I need to make sure I go to these parties. I need to make
Yeah.
sure I have all these friends. Da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. You know,
Yeah.
and even now people are still like that. People are,
Yeah.
you know, I'm
Oh, agreed.
I'm graduating
Agreed.
college for my bachelor's degree soon, and people in my class are still worried about, oh, when's the next rave? When's the next party? What are we
Yeah.
doing? How can I get the easy grade? How can I pass this class? Whatever. And I'm just like, man, I'm all in on taking my 20s and just
Yeah.
grinding it out, building
Right.
something great, so that when I get to my 30s, I have
Right.
nothing to worry about. in life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the goal. All these other people, they're partying through their
Yeah.
20s, 30's gonna come knocking on the door, and they're gonna be like, oh crap,
Yeah.
I'm not prepared.
Yeah.
You know?
Or they wake up and they're in debt. They never worked to try and, you know, mitigate that and,
Right.
you know, lessen it the best that they could. Or,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, I just see how these people are living sometimes. I don't judge them. It's just like I wish that there was something that I can do to help them. And if they were like my friend or something, I would never let them walk down that kind of path, you know?
Not even that. It's like, for me, it's simply like, I wish you had a piece of my perspective so you
Yeah.
could understand.
Right.
You know, I say this humbly speaking. My life has been so chaotic, where I've seen life so much different than most people
Right.
do. You know,
Right.
There's been struggles. There's been so much negativity. There's been just, you know, storms in life that I've
Right,
gone through.
right,
And that gives you perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and I always say the negativity in life, you could either let it break you down or build
Right.
you up. And I chose to let it build me up. And
Right.
it's given me this perspective of all these kids, students, adults at this point, that are choosing the pleasure of now versus
Yeah.
the longevity and sustainability of their future, you know.
Yeah.
And I just wish they had the perspective to say, man, I'm going to regret these actions in 5-10 years from now.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know, I like what you said, and I feel like before I was really worried about the past, and I wanted to make up for my mistakes, and but now I'm kind of looking forward, and it's not like the past is behind, it's gone.
Can't do anything
You
about it.
can't do anything about it. One thing that has really helped me is forgiving myself for any mistakes that I've made. You just got to forgive yourself and just realize that there's nothing that you can do about it, and you just got to move forward.
Yeah.
And then with the future is just each decision that you make today will determine your future. Each choice that you make. We were talking about food, choosing the right food to eat. It is so important for your future, even though, that quarter pounder, the pounder.
Talked about the quad quarter pounder.
Yeah, doesn't even fit in the box. So you put 4 patties on the quarter pounder. Although that will probably be really good. That's not something I would eat all the time.
Dirty bulking secrets with Ryan.
Yeah. It's just the choices that you make on a daily basis are what's going to shape you for the future. You're going to be that strong leader, stoic man, or you're going to be whatever the flip side is.
Man, that makes me remember so much of when I was just a few years younger. I had a lot more friends when I was in middle school, going into high school, and then they start dwindling out towards the end, and they would always ask, "Oh, why don't you go out to parties? Why don't you go out? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" Even now I still get asked, "Why don't you go out?" And I've barely been starting to go out these last 2 years because I realized I need to pump the brakes a little bit and smell the roses a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always like, okay, why would I choose to do what you guys are doing? A lot of underage drinking too, man.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
What are we getting from this?
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, you guys are getting, so intoxicated that you won't
Yeah.
even remember this tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, that I never understood.
I was like, why would I choose to do
That I
that
never
when I
understood.
could choose to go to work, when I could choose to go train, when I could
Right.
choose to do something valuable that is going to build my character up, build myself up for my future,
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to work. I want to go do this. I want to go do that. Oh, work sucks. Go to work, make some money, build your future,
I saw a thing. It was like, if you ever feel bad about where you are in life, just go to like a club sober. Just watch. Like, you see how just these people. I think it's rooted in some kind of trauma. That's my
A
personal
lot of it
opinion.
does come from that, yeah.
And that they just want to feel accepted, so they look, and it goes back to they're just looking for the easiest route to feel that.
Yeah.
Instead of accepting themselves, they just kind of neglect themselves, and
They kind of conform to what's normal.
yeah,
Kind of conform to what everybody else is doing. And
Yeah.
for me, what was normal didn't feel right for me.
yeah,
It just didn't make sense to me.
yeah,
I felt the need to be abnormal and do what the 30-year-olds were doing when I was
right,
16, 17, 18.
Right.
Everybody else thought I was weird. In high school, here's a funny story. Freshman year was weird, but sophomore, junior, and some of senior, actually I only stepped foot in school one time senior year.
What?
Because of COVID.
Oh,
We were on Zoom the whole time. We were
okay.
hybrid. Last day of school, stepped foot in school.
Man, that hybrid stuff.
But anyways, I made it a conscious effort to always show up to school dressed up. After freshman year, I think about halfway through freshman year, after my wrestling season.
What do you mean dressed up? Like,
Button up,
wow.
collar, like dress pants.
Tie or-
sometimes jeans, sometimes ties, bow ties.
Yeah.
And I made it a conscious effort to always show up to school dressed up.
Yeah.
And it changed the way teachers looked at me. It changed the way other students looked at me.
Yeah.
And I made it a habit. I made it an effort because it just simply the way people looked at me was different. They
Yeah.
were like, man, this kid means business.
Yeah.
And all the other kids were showing up in hoodies and sweatpants,
Yeah.
and I despise that. How could you show
Yeah.
up to this place where you're supposed to grow and enhance your mind and intelligence?
Agreed.
And just show up with minimal effort,
Yeah, and it's not a judgment thing, It's
no
not.
judgment.
It's not like you're looking at them and they're less than you. Or
No, not
whatever,
at all.
It's just kind of like it's a misunderstanding of like you see life in that kind of, you know what I mean? Like you're wearing sweatpants to this, and it's kind of like this is important in life,
Yeah.
to show up to school this kind of way, And especially I've taken that now, especially in college, And it's a big mind thing as well, Is waking up and actually getting ready for the day is like that. Like it's something that I've always done, but it's realizing that's what's setting me apart from some of my peers.
Yeah.
Is that just getting up doing my hair and putting on a nice outfit
Yeah.
is doing at least like 30-40% more than what some of my peers are doing when they show up looking like they just woke up and they're wearing sweatpants and hoodies.
Sweatpants, hoodie, slippers.
I can't stand the slides. I
Oh
can't
my
stand
God.
that. Slides for me are for like at home.
Slides are okay. You know, I understand the slides. Slippers though, people just show up straight slippers.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we like? Did you just, like? Were you running late? Like, what's
Yeah,
going on? You know?
yeah.
You need some help there, buddy. But
Then you're like, did you brush your teeth? Like you just, you know, you didn't do your hair.
we're at community college. It's
You
not
did-
that hard.
You didn't do your hair, so did you wash your face?
Oh my
I don't know. Did you shower last night? a little concerning.
Yeah.
But let's talk positives. Top positive. Our generation, because there's some good people.
We definitely dug deep on the negatives.
yeah.
Let's talk positives. So positives, I think being able to use the technology of our time has been a strength of our generation.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a lot of businesses, especially hiring younger people. Why? Because they understand the technology much better than the older people. Not that older people can't, use the technology. It's just younger people grew up with the technology.
Yeah.
So we are much more tech savvy, much more able to understand it and use it and apply it versus an older person that might not necessarily understand the lingo, the semantics, the mechanics that go into social media or ChatGPT or
Right.
All these other newer social phenomenons.
Right.
I think that's a big positive.
Yeah.
Being able to use the tools around you. People, there's literally teens and young adults fulfilling their careers through technology.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Especially through social media, and that's one of my end goals. Aside from being a very stable leader in Victory, is to have a social media presence, so that people can see who I am and what I'm about just by looking at my page without ever even needing to come to me face to face. And I feel like that's what a lot of other gyms have done very well. Like you guys went to Deepwater, which is very, they're very active on social media.
Yep.
Yeah. About positives with the generation, I feel like the new ideas, new things, just finding little ways to make things better for everybody. And I feel like now our generation is a lot more outspoken about the way that they're feeling, and even though sometimes it might not be reflected very positively, but we're very open about the way that we feel and the way that we talk about each other and the way that we develop new ideas, and how we try to include everybody, and there's no one left out. We're not looking at, where you've been or, what your background is. It's who are you right now? And, it's there's not much like bullying and stuff like that. It's more just like, you are who you are, and we're gonna accept you no matter what. That's a positive thing, I think.
Yeah,
about
I think
our
that's a
generation.
positive too. And I think as we go, the older I get, it's like you have to take. There's this thing in philosophy. I forget what the term exactly is, but basically it goes like this: you take the positives, reject the negativity, and absorb or accept the positives. And I think as newer generations emerged into adulthood, and I think they could definitely absorb the positives of the previous generations. Like they always say, the older generations always say, "Oh, kids today are soft," or this and that. And I think to an extent that is valid.
Yeah.
Kids today don't have the necessarily the resilience or the grit to be able to go up and wake up for their 9 to 5 and be content with that, or they stub their toe or all these things, all these excuses. And I think our generation could definitely absorb that from the older generation and reject some of the negatives of that generation. Some of the negatives of that generation might be environmental concerns or something, something weird, whatever it is. Absorb the positive, reject the negative, and that's how we grow.
Yeah.
And I think the opposite is true. I think the older generation could still learn and grow and accept the positives of the newer generation, maybe reject the negatives that they think they have, You
Yeah.
know, and it's a constant cycle of growth.
Yeah, it was funny. One of my bosses is 87 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an old guy. I respect him. I respect him
Still
so
young.
much.
People live to 100 now.
And he has a phone. He has an iPhone.
Nice.
Right. And one of my coworkers, because I'm his right hand man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm there for him whenever he needs, and whatever. Like I'm on call whenever he needs me for something. He's old, you know, and he needs help with some things around the house, whatever. I'm there for him, you know. And one of my coworkers was like, "How do you stay in contact with him?" And he's like, "Oh, he texts me." And he's like, "He texts you?" I'm like, yeah, he texts me. And I had to tell him, like, you know, he's 87, but you never should stop learning.
No.
And that's really one of the reasons why I respect him, is because he's never really rejecting new ideas.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, he's not necessarily like going thumb by thumb. He does the voice thing, so
It still counts.
The fact that he even
Knows how to do that.
Yeah, because his son is another one of my bosses. It's the family business, and his son hates text. He would rather me call him than just to shoot him a text about something. So that's why it's like you have to be able to accept those new ideas. You know what I mean? And he's a testimony to that. He's lots of respect for that man.
Yeah. Learn from, you know, what you can and reject the negatives and that's just how we roll. That's how we grow as humans. You know? Cool.
Yeah.
So let's close this up, Mando. Let's wrap up with this final question. What's one thing you want to change by the end of the year? Now we're in March now, so we've got what, 9 months, under 9 months. What's one thing you want to change by the end of the year?
I definitely want to be a better leader by the end of the 9 months. That's one of my goals, is to be someone that people can look up to here at Victory, and you know, they can be like, oh yeah, that's Mando, that's, you know, and I can provide that advice for anything about life, about, you know, food, and you know what you should be eating, and anything about training, and you know, just to be a crutch for some people when they need it. And, you know, just to be a strong leader. Another thing that I want to do is I really want to compete more. I really, this year I definitely want to crush down on some competition, and in Colorado I'm going to try and find some competition just to, you know, feel out, because you know, every gym is different. Every gym teaches something a different way, and I want to feel out how it is there, and just get as much as a variety of versatility and, you know, different styles, and you know, meeting new people. And then when I come back, from Colorado, I'd want to find more competition, and that's another thing that I really want to focus on this year.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. What about you?
For me,
what are you thinking?
Man, the biggest thing on my radar is gaining weight.
Yeah.
I want to end this year off 160, you know, lean, 6% body fat like I've always been.
Yeah.
Just a lean, mean muscle machine.
Yeah.
Just a tank.
Yeah.
And just have the physique I've wanted to have, and just be able to lock that in by the end of the year. I think it's doable.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing on my radar, man. If I could have that done by the end of the year, I feel like everything else in life after that is gonna click into place.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like the weakest link is my body not able to, you know, sustain the intensity of life. Sometimes I'm just constantly go.
Yeah.
And you know, I can handle it for a week, for 2, for 3. And by the end of that 3rd week, I'm like, man, this is tough.
Yeah.
And then I'll get sick, and then I reset back to square one. The other thing on my radar, kind of like you said, competing, but not competing, but sharpening my grappling skills exponentially. Like the last 2 years, I took a break from grappling because I hurt my back a little bit. And,
I remember that.
And man,
that was
anytime I would grapple, I was just like walking out like an old man, and I was like, oh man. Never got it fixed, by the way.
Yeah.
It just hurts less now.
Yeah. Same with my pinky currently.
Man. But so I want to take a deep dive on grappling this year. I'm actually attending a seminar at the end of this month. Jiu-Jitsu, Chewy.
Nice.
Second time I'm seeing him. But,
nice.
But I just want to deep dive on grappling and get so much better with my grappling and get it back up to par with my striking, and just get level up that much more, you know. But yeah, that's about it for me. So hopefully we end this year stronger than we've started.
Yeah.
And just be 10 times better than the versions we are now.
Yeah, man, no matter what.
Oh,
we're
yeah,
gonna do that.
always growing.
I think that first goal in particular for you, that's going to be something that you're going to accomplish.
Dude, if I do, that's going to be like...
It's not if.
It's when.
It's when.
It's when.
You're going to do it.
It's going to be a dream come true.
I know it. I know it.
Man.
And if you need anything, I'm right here for you.
I appreciate it. And I know the victory team's got my back too. CJ every once in a while pops in. You been eating? I'm like,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm working on it though.
Yeah.
Well, Mando, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast, episode 3.
Man,
Chat
I'm so
on
happy
the Mat.
to be here. It's exciting.
We'll be having you out. We'll bounce around with Ronnie when he's
Yeah.
available. You hop in every once in a while, and we'll have some other guests. I've got to figure out the mic system because I'm still a newbie. I'm still an amateur, so I have no clue how to use mics. How to split. If I could figure out a way to split it into 3 or 4 channels, that would be great. So I could have 3 or more guests at a time. Right now we're limited to 2. So
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a wrap for episode 3. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Denny.
Bam.